Hey guys, it's Victoria here. Welcome back to another video. So today we're going to cover 380R. Now I've done 380R before, but typically just focusing on H1, right? So today I want you guys to really have a deeper understanding on how you're going to apply this on H4. So let me go ahead and get this party started. All right. So I'm looking at the euro pound. Now, this is not really a pair that I trade that much because the ADR is pretty low, right? So 47 pips for one ADR and 3 times 47 is 142. Okay. So we're on H4 now. So each ADR, right? So let me draw this out real quick. So 142 times 3 will give us 426, right? So remember that, you know, the pattern happens on every time frame. Okay. Looks like this, right? So we will always have, that's one push, consolidation. Whoops, let me, let me try and make this look nicer. So we have our M. Okay. All right, so there we go. So now we're going to count our pushes, right? So this is always 1, 2, and then 3, reverse, okay? So you have your, usually it's going to be a multi-session M or W, right? This is gonna be 1 day, 2 day, right? Sometimes it could, you know, sometimes it could be 3 days, right? Up in here, you know, holding the level, right? Sometimes that happens, but here lately I've been seeing, you know, this happening pretty reasonable, right? In 2 days, right? You get your first, sometimes you'll get the peak notification. You'll get it on this day, right? And then sometimes you'll get it on this day, right? So just FYI, right? If you see the peak notification, peak, how can I speak? This peak show up on the first day, then the next day, that's going to be your one peak formation high or your one peak formation low. Okay, so we also have the areas of consolidation that happen. You can always count those as well. So usually 2 areas of consolidation, and remember they can hold these levels for anywhere, you know, for 2 days, 2 or 3 days. Okay, so we already know that each one of these pushes on, get another color here. Each one of these pushes on H1 equals, what did we say, 47 pips, okay? On H4, okay, each one of these pushes is worth 142 pips, okay? 42, right? So since I use my H4 as my trend direction, I want to pay attention to that too, right? You are going to have opportunities where you can counter this and you go long because it's going to have to go back long to go back down, right? That happens all the time. So I just wanted you to know that's basically what today's video is going to be about, is the H4. All right. So I have already, trying to save some time here, I had already plotted these, right? And it's real easy to do. You just go to the rectangle and then you just count them. You guys probably seen me do this before. So we're looking at 142, right? So there's 142.7. So that's one ADR on H4, which we've already done, okay? So we copy them and we plot them out, all right? So now we can expect, this is the top, of course, this is low, all right? So that's the range that we're looking at for right now. So we're expecting it on H4. Once it comes back down around here somewhere, then the reversal is in. So my trend overall for this pair is going to be short, right? So I'm not going to hold on the counter trades too long, right? Just probably an ADR and a half or so, and I'll show you what I mean here in just a second. So now we're on H1. So let's go back and see where we plotted the initial peak start here, right? So this was the initial peak. Right there. And here's another thing to note too. So we know that at this area here, you can also drop down the areas where you can use for your entries or your exits, right? These are really good areas to do that at, right? Because we know that on H4, that's where the 3 ADR is expected. So I went ahead and plotted these little mini 447 pips right here, right? And so if I was to catch this trade pretty early, because this is a trade that you would have need to have been in right at the beginning of Asia, right? Because of course you guys know market timing is very important. So you would have want to come in this trade pretty early. So you could have entered this trade anywhere around here, okay? Right? You could have waited for the, oh, I know this is not an order block video, but okay, you want to always make sure where they are, right? So we're going to take, I'm going to do the retest, an entry on your order block. You can do that too. Okay, so the rules are the last bear candle before the push down. So that would technically be right there. Okay. And I'm going to move that on out, right? So now I'm going to wait for, you can wait for prices to test and retest. So another thing I want you to pay attention to is, you can see this M. Okay. Right there. Okay, and then look how nice that is. You can take that entry right there. Okay. Isn't that beautiful? Okay. So now for your exit, right? Remember, we just said we can use this, the 3 ADR. So our entries here. Okay. And then we're going to exit around here. Okay. So I'm just going to go ahead and move this out here because obviously this is where we mark the area. So look at that, right? If that's what if you're into swinging, right, you could have swung this trade nicely. Okay, so this would have been your 1 peak formation. And then your 2 formation high. Usually after 2 days, I don't hold them after that, right? Because I'm either looking at if it's the second day or where we are with the ADR, then I just don't hold them, right? Because this thing could definitely reverse. This was a Monday, this is a Tuesday, right? So those 2 days coming together like that could have reversed on us and went up a little bit or whatever, and then drop back again, right? But this is where I would normally exit, either based off of the ADR being expired or the next day, the two peak formation, right, of the after the new peak is where I typically would exit. However, you do have options. Oh, did I steal that one? There we go. That's what I was trying to do. You do have options, right? You could take the exit right here, right about 1 and that's actually what 2 ADR. You could have taken that right there, right? Or you could have held it on, or if you had 2 trades on or 3 positions, whatever your style is, then you could have held it for all 3 ADR, right? And then just got out right here and then waited, right? So you know that it's still looking short because it only literally cleared one ADR on H4. So you just be patient and wait again, right? If you're not sure what's going on here, if the turnaround Tuesday or the reversal Wednesday doesn't happen, right? Then I'm looking at this like, you know, it's a possibility that if I would have came here and looked at this, I would have probably entered this here again, right? And then because I can see clearly, right, that prices, we can even come back here and draw another order block, right? You can always add these on your chart so that you can be comfortable in your entry. So that is technically, I would use that bear candle right there. And I would wait for it to test and retest and then enter again, right? If I got out here, right? Or if I came to the market and I'm like, okay, let's see where we at, right? So now you have a bit of ranging here. It's consolidated for a couple of days, right? So then you just, for me, after it sits in consolidation, right? If I am trading for the day, usually the rule is around 2 hours, right? But by this time, guys, I'm not in the trade usually, right? Especially since this is the third day of the peak, of the new peak, then I am not holding that trade, right? Because typically I can't expect it to reverse, right? So I normally am out of it. I'm not going to hold it any longer. I'm going to wait, right? So then we got a this indicator right here. Really is just, it's called a trend shift. So it really lets you know that this thing is going to reverse. Okay. Now here's where I only dropped the ADR, right? The 47 pip ADR here just for 2, because oftentimes when you're in a reversal, like I said, I often may take those reversals if they're looking really good, right? Or if I catch them in time, right? I may take it. This is like more like a channel, right? I will take the trade if I'm available for it, but I won't hold it no more than maybe 1.5 pips, because I know that this thing is short and there's no indication here at the moment that I need to be, trying to take this thing long, right? So I would take this thing short and go right up to my little area here that was already marked, right? And then we got the shift again right here. And guys, this was Monday. How can I tell? Because this was the psychological levels that were drawn on the chart. There's an indicator that does that as well. And basically this is your Asia high and low, and it draws out as the week progresses. So by the end of the week, you can see that you're also trading away from this area. You're still even trading away from the peak, right? And this right here is another SNR area that you can use to trade away from, right? So once that showed up, this trend shift showed up again, I plotted the 3 ADR, right? 47, 47, 47, right? And it darn near came down here to where I was thinking it was going to show up at, right? It didn't come all the way down, but after, so this is like a reset of the peak, right? So now you have, let me go steal these up here. So now these things, reset. Okay. So, so now 1, 2, 3, the third day is now looking like this thing is really going to reverse now. We have the indicator here that's showing the peak is going to, that has shown on the chart. And so now we can expect it to perhaps give us a real reversal, right? Perhaps 3 true ADR. So what I'm going to do, so now I can see that this peak has confirmed. It's not a pretty W, but it does look like it is one of those half of bats or temple of dooms, whatever you want to call it. Okay. An inverted one. All right. So it's not pretty, but it's definitely a pattern there. Okay, so what I'm going to do when the trading, when we're back trading, right, I'm going to look to go long. So I'm going to plot my ADRs, even though this thing already did it for me, but I just want you guys to get comfortable, practice manually doing this, right? It's exactly what you need to do, okay? So now this is my next area where I'm going to target to take the profits. And then we'll wait and see, right? We'll wait and see what happens on H4. So let's go ahead and go back to H4. Okay, I'm on H4. We, at this moment, will be clearing 2 ADRs on H4, right? So it's definitely going to go in reverse, right? Come back up here somewhere and then give us another final drop down here. Okay, that's what I'm thinking. That's what it looks like. So basically we already know that it's going to go back up here. And then this is where I'm expecting it to come back to, right? And then give us the confirmation to go back. Okay. Okay, now that's just my overview, guys. You know, things change all the time, but just basing off of what I'm seeing here with the ADR, I'm going to use that as my guide, as my bias, and I'm just going to follow the price, right? Follow price action. Okay, the pattern is price action, so just keep that in mind. And these are great little things that you could do to help guide you on where your entries and exits should be, and just follow it and go back, of course, to your favorite pairs and plot the ADRs from H4 to H1 and just see it for yourself, right? Just see it for yourself. So I hope this video was helpful. Let me know if you have any questions, and we will see you in the next one.